Hi, I'm Katherine, Senior Software Engineer at Gatsby.
Hey, I'm Jack. I'm a Senior Product Manager here at Gatsby. Katherine, it's so weird to be face-to-face with the Gatsby for the first time, and I can't think of a topic I'd rather talk about more than preview in person.
Same. Today we're going to talk about how to build a kick-ass preview experience that your content editors will love. I'm going to kick it over to Jack now to talk about why the preview experience is so important to these content editors.
Let's do it. Building a modern website takes a team, or it takes a village. Behind your website is a team of content editors and developers working together to deliver a fantastic digital experience to your end users. The workflows of developers and content editors varies greatly, and it can be difficult to support both of these workflows on a website at the same time. Very often, developers get to pick the stack, and maybe that disadvantages content editors. Or vice versa, maybe content editors pick the stack and developers are less productive. Ideally with Gatsby, you get the best of both worlds. Developers get to choose the technologies they like and love, like React and Git, and content editors get to use their CMS of choice. This is all made possible by Gatsby's incredible content layer and open source JavaScript framework. Developers can bring the services and tools they need, like React, Algolia, or Shopify, and content editors can pull from the content sources they need. Really, where this all comes together is in the CMS. This is where developers and content editors collaborate together to build out a content model to power this new awesome website.
But Jack, why do content editors care about the open preview button so much?
I know, Katherine, as a developer, it can be tricky to understand why a content editor wants an open preview button, but it's the moment of truth for them where they get to simulate what their content will look like in production, and seeing what that's like is vital.
Definitely.
So why is preview so vital? Let's zoom in on this some more. Just like developers and QA testers smoke test new software before it goes out, content editors want to smoke test their content to see how it looks in production to make sure it has the right vibe that they're going for. Content is usually driving campaigns, generating leads, or driving revenue, so it's important that it creates the impression that content editors have in mind. It's also vital to test this content across devices to make sure images appear correct, headings wrap and appear correctly across different screen sizes like mobile and desktop. And finally, like I mentioned at the beginning, all of this is a collaborative process. And content editors are usually soliciting feedback from others before they're allowed to hit the publish button. So they need to share the URL for preview with other people, gather feedback, get approval, and then go live. If you ask Lisa Potter what she thinks of the new Gatsby site that Starlight Children's Foundation built, they called it a content marketing paradise. Ultimately, it's vital that developers support content editors with the workflow they need to feel confident about going live from their CMS. Katherine, where'd you go? I thought you were going to show preview in action. Oh,
I'm here. That's right. I'd love to show you all the improvements that we've made over the last year to the preview experience. Let's start by talking about some of our goals with the preview experience. We want preview to feel like a seamless handoff between the CMS and Gatsby Cloud, so that it feels like it's all part of the same ecosystem or even the same tool. Preview should keep up with the speed of collaboration so that content editors can iterate over content changes more quickly with multiple partners in making that happen. Editors should also understand how preview works. In order to accomplish this kick-ass preview experience, we've focused on making preview builds faster, making them easier to use. And today we're also going to talk about some ways you can optimize the preview experience for your site. First, let's look at how we're making preview builds faster. The first thing we did to make preview faster over the past year was to apply the concept of incremental builds that was only previously available for production to preview. This is something that's needed even more for preview because it's in the preview environment that you often want to view changes more quickly. How does this work? Intelligent caching for content changes inform what pages should be rebuilt. So if content editors make a small update to the CMS, Gatsby Cloud can pull those updates incrementally. Gatsby's source plugin system is powered by GraphQL. Pages pluck data from this schema. Gatsby can track these page data dependencies, and when data changes, we know which pages need to be rebuilt incrementally. So we thought, why not apply this incremental concept to other parts of the publishing pipeline to help content editors feel that immediate preview experience? While an incremental build might take less than 5 seconds, if we have to check every route in order to invalidate stale data, that can still slow down the publishing pipeline. The idea of incremental deploys is something that we're excited to be testing internally and are excited to offer this more broadly to you soon. Our goal for this year is that all preview builds are in the single digits this year. Now that we've talked about how we've made preview builds faster, let's talk about how we've made preview easier to use. The easiest way to show this is by walking through the Open Preview button experience from the content editor's point of view. So an editor might go to edit a piece of content, like a blog post here, and change the title. They want to see what this looks like on the page, so they press the Open Preview button. As soon as they press that button, they're routed to the correct page where this content will show and where they'd like to view it. First, we see the old title, Automate with Cats, but we also see in our Preview UI indicator that a new preview is being built. As soon as that page has been updated and ready to view, the editor can click through to view the changes. And it's as simple as that. Now we have our new title, Automate with Dogs. Let's take a look at that again. The editor edits the content, changing the title. They go to press that preview button. They're routed to the page where they want to view that content almost immediately. And then they're informed by our preview indicator as soon as that new content is ready to view. So when you press the Open Preview button, how does Gatsby Cloud know how to direct you to the right previewed content? Gatsby Cloud really takes away a lot of the complexity for you with this concept called the Manifest ID. In order to make this system work for CMSs, source plugins, Gatsby Cloud, and Gatsby Core all at once, we created an ID format that all four can understand and agree upon. This is called the Node Manifest ID. This is an ID which is tied to a specific node at a specific point in its revision history. And the CMS and source plugin can both easily generate and understand. So when you press that Open Preview button and a webhook is triggered to start an incremental build, that node manifest is being created. Simultaneously, we are checking if this page has been previewed before, routing you to the cast route, and then updating you when the node manifest is found and the preview is updated. And there you go. You can see your preview on Gatsby Cloud.
Katherine, that's so fantastic to hear all that Gatsby's doing to make preview faster and make it easier to use. But as a developer, how can I optimize my site for preview?
Well, I'm excited to talk about that next. So we now know there are a variety of use cases for preview, like publishing new content, updating existing content, viewing nested content. But there are some additional ways in which you can optimize your experience with a few best practices. First, use Gatsby Cloud to get the best preview build performance possible. We're also going to talk about things like your source plugin version, things you should avoid when querying for data to optimize that preview experience, and using the Owner Node ID API for customization. First, let's talk about your Gatsby version. In order to have access to the Open Preview experience and to have incremental builds for preview, you want to make sure you're on the latest version of Gatsby 3 or 4. You also want to take a look at the source plugin version for your particular CMS. For example, for this set of source plugins, this is the version required in order to have that preview experience that links content changes to previews directly. We are continually improving preview and will always update documentation if new versions are required for Gatsby or source plugins. Now, when querying for data for pages in your Gatsby Node.js file, you want to avoid using any kind of filters over your list of nodes that might prevent preview from working. These filters could remove data that are instrumental to making the preview process work seamlessly. For example, if you filter by status, such as publish, when you're querying for pages, that's definitely something you want to avoid. Another thing to avoid is something we like to call context stuffing. This is the idea of querying for all of your data in that Gatsby node file and passing it onto pages via the Create Pages API. This will cause every query in the site to rerun on every update. So updates might be extremely slow, and in some cases, it might even prevent Gatsby from rerunning queries, resulting in stale data. So what should you do instead? When a page is created, you want to only provide the data that is required to create that page as part of the context. This is going to make your queries run a lot faster and make the preview experience that much better. Now that we've gone through some major don'ts, let's talk about a way that we can optimize the preview experience even further for your content editors. This is something called the Owner Node ID API. Sometimes content lives on multiple pages. A blog post, for example, might be on a particular page of your site, as well as referenced in the homepage. As a developer, you can now customize the preview experience by telling Gatsby which node owns that page. So by passing that ID via Owner Node ID when you create the page, you can really tailor that preview experience to what your content editors want and need. If you don't use the Owner Node ID, Gatsby does use a mapping hierarchy for deciding what page to preview content on. It's also helpful to know this to understand what might be going on with preview if your content editors have questions. Without Owner Node ID, Gatsby looks at the node ID found in the file system route API. Next, it would look at the page contents, and finally, query tracking.
Wow, Katherine, it's so awesome to hear about how preview is being made faster, easier to use, and what developers can do to optimize preview for their content editors.
Definitely. If you want to learn more, you can go to our blog post about preview and how to improve your performance at gatsby.dev/previewperf.
Thanks so much.
Stay tuned for the live Q&A.
We are back again. Hello, everybody. And I am joined, wait. Humans in the same location, two people together. What is going on? Unbelievable. Great to see you both.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack and Katherine, thanks. Great to see you both. Great. Amazing that you're together. It truly is, with so many of us being apart and virtual. Really, really great to see you all able to be in the same place there, down in Southern California, right?
Yeah, we're in Los Angeles. Yeah, happy to be here.
Excellent, excellent.
Today, which is nice.
Yeah, it's like summer.
Yeah.
Oh man, some of our other friends I've talked to today in other much colder locales would be very, very jealous right now. So, well, let's get after it. You guys shared a lot of pretty amazing information there, and this whole incremental deploys thing is it's hot, it's on fire, you can barely touch it. How can people get started with incremental deploys?
You built it. Do you want to tell people?
Yeah. So, yeah, at the time we recorded the talk, it wasn't yet going to be released to public beta, but it is. I think Jack pinned the link in the chat there. So go there. The instructions are there. You just have to turn it on in the UI, and that's how you can get started with it for preview.
Yeah, if your site is already on Gatsby Cloud, you can go to Site Settings, Preview, and then enable Incremental Deploys.
Exactly.
Sounds easy. I could probably even follow that instruction. So yeah, nice work there.
Make sure your site sort of meets the requirements for this beta period. We'll open that up to more types of sites later this spring.
Excellent, excellent. And do incremental deploys work with all CMSs? Like, does it matter?
Great question. So earlier today we talked about image CDN. Image CDN is dependent on sort of which CMS and CMS specific support, but we're so excited that with incremental deploys and some of the other preview performance improvements, those are CMS agnostic, so everyone will benefit from faster data updates with incremental deploys.
Okay, cool. But of course, if you want to use one of the CMSs of our sponsors, we highly recommend those. No.
those are the fastest.
Quick plug. Yeah.
And use the starters.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anything else that you both are working on directly, or going on at Gatsby that's going to make preview faster? I mean, I was talking with Kyle a few minutes ago, and it's like, for marketers like me, man, that thing has to be fast, or we're just not going to be down with it. So what else is going on to try to make this faster?
Yeah, I think besides focusing on that deploy step, and Kyle talked about this a little bit as well, we're really evaluating each phase of that publishing pipeline and where we can kind of tighten it up. And then I also think another big thing is consistency. So we want to deliver this experience over and over again.
Absolutely. So, maybe a specific example of that is we like sort of surgical precision looking at our infrastructure and seeing that sometimes builds are queued for a little bit too long. And so we want to get that time down. And so we're working on a feature called direct data updates where, any data update from your CMS will never go to a queue. It'll immediately kick off a preview build, which means a faster experience for content editors so they can simulate drafts and things a lot more quickly. So we'll have more to share on that as incremental deploys matures.
And do you think this could ever get to the level of like where we'd actually support like literally a live or instantaneous preview? Can we get all the way there?
Absolutely. If anyone read my blog post that I poured my heart into from a few weeks ago about preview status indicator and content sync, which are also huge improvements to preview, we said in that in 2022, our goal is that all sites on Gatsby Cloud have a single-digit preview experience. Of course, optimally, 1 second. But there's a lot of things that we'd like to build on top of preview, a lot more rich functionality when you think about, what does it take for a content editor to publish content? Well, they have to gather feedback and other things. And so for us to go more into that workflow, we need preview that's as fast as possible.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Outside of just like the beta, the official beta, for this particular feature, that sort of thing, how can people, what's like, you're a product manager, Jack, you're controlling the ship. How do people get you feedback? How can people tell you what they're looking for, all the Gatsby devs out there?
I unfortunately have Twitter push notifications turned on. So the fastest way probably to get in my ear is at Sellwood_Jack. Otherwise, you can email me at jack@gatsbyjs.com. And we also have Canny for gathering feedback from the community. I don't have a link to that right in front of me, but all the product managers and engineering managers at Gatsby constantly monitor that for feedback as well.
Awesome. And I think they just linked the blog post that you wrote and poured that heart and soul into. I think we just linked that in the chat. So people definitely want to check that out, or you can, go to gatsbyjs.com, find the blog and rock it that way. Katherine, what do you, I'll go back to you. What are you most excited about that you're working on, either upcoming or now, or maybe down the road later this year? What kind of gets you excited?
Yeah, incremental deploys has been really exciting. It was super exciting to see it used on gatsbyjs.com and really bring those preview times down and kind of see all of our hard work in action. So I was excited to see that. I'm excited to continue to make improvements as we test it with users.
And we're bringing incremental deploys to more than just preview this spring. So we're going to be bringing it to PR builds and production builds so that all builds are faster on Gatsby Cloud. There's actually a question in the chat that kind of alludes to some stuff.
Oh yeah, let's do that one. Yeah. It looks like any chance that Gatsby OS will get a preview in Gatsby source GraphQL.
Totally. So we love all of the excitement from the community saying, hey, I want to build a custom source plugin, or I have a GraphQL source where I want to build a custom source plugin. We are going to make it so much easier this year to build a source plugin. I don't have more to share quite yet on that. Other than that, we're really thinking through significantly improving the source plugin author experience right now. To build a source plugin, it's really reinventing the wheel every time. And we want to provide some utilities to make that process a lot faster. So no matter your data source, you'll get a high quality sourcing experience.
Excellent. Any last remarks or words to share with the Gatsby verse here before we let you go?
Ooh, image CDN plus incremental deploys. Your site is just gonna you might go back in time. You're moving faster than light. So.
Yeah, and we've tested them together. So, but we want to continue to test that and kind of see all those preview builds get faster and faster.
I cannot wait. And I'm sure that's the feeling that everybody out there in the community watching this has. So Jack, Katherine, can't thank you both enough. Amazing you were able to come together too at Gatsby Los Angeles headquarters, or AKA Jack's house. But loved having you both on there together, and a really great presentation. We are going to move on. We've got another set of talks. This day just keeps rolling and rolling. We've got two things coming up here next. We've got builders Urson Akinsey with a talk actually I've been really looking forward to myself, which is improve your lighthouse score with Party Town and Gatsby. I cannot wait for that one. We also have my friend Kevin Gervais up from Canada, founder and CTO of Touchless Inc. He's going to be talking about creating the touchless experience for the accessible world, a very, very important topic. I know one that's near and dear to many folks on this call. So that's going to start in just a couple minutes. You can do the thing we've been doing all day, hit that agenda button, scroll down, find the talk you want to see next, and we'll see you there momentarily. Bye-bye.